Perhaps 1,200 years ago, the prophetic Maya caught a glimpse of our destiny and that of our precious earth. Eclipses played a transcendental role in the history of Mesoamerica. They were heavenly signals, marking the beginning or the end of an era. When the golden sun was devoured by the darkened shadow of the moon, a new epoch was born. This natural phenomena depicted portents of things to come. Historically, an eclipse announced the Aztec migration from the mythical land Aztlan and the settling of the Valley of Mexico. It heralded the Spanish invasion and the plunge of the indigenous peoples into darkness, where their culture would remain submerged for almost 500 years. The Maya revealed their profound knowledge of terrestrial cycles through projected divination recorded on ancient storyboards. One of the most intriguing, the Dresda Codex, is a mysterious blend of accurate prophecy and pure science in the form of astronomical tables that construct a calendar of events dating to 3114 BC. The date officially accepted by modern science as the age of the Codex. The Maya hieroglyphics give us insight into the vast knowledge and mathematical genius that they created, understood, and existed within, a realm of myth dictated by heavenly movement. The sun, the moon, and the Pleiades were the keepers of time and the seers of future events. The people of Mesoamerica were indeed a cosmic race whose thoughts and lives were ruled by what happened in the heavens, especially the birth of a new sun. Thus, a great number of historic events are directly linked to an eclipse. The legend of the eclipses, known as suns, are recorded on the sun rock, incorrectly called the Aztec calendar. According to the inscription, the first sun ended with devastating wind, the second with fiery rain, the third with darkness. The fourth sun terminated with water, recognized by most cultures as the flood. The fifth sun exited with the destruction by earthquakes that devastated Mexico City in 1985. Thousands lost their lives. Countless others were left homeless on this dry lake bed, which was once the great island capital of the Aztec Empire. The 1991 total solar eclipse announced great changes as illustrated by this grotesque figure representing death. It also marked the beginning of the sixth sun, the son of Quetzalcoatl, the legendary bearded, fair-skinned god who is attributed with social, technical, and agricultural enlightenment of pre-Hispanic America, and who also promised to return. The sixth sun, due to its historical movement, trajectory, and duration, marked the end of cosmogonic obscurity, giving credence to the prophecy given in the year 755 that the sun of 1991 would usher in a new era of not only earth changes, but also cosmic awareness. As the people of Mexico prepared for what some call the eclipse of the millennium, due to the maximum duration of 6 minutes 45 seconds, one of the longest in history, one thing was certain. This would become the most scrutinized and photographed eclipse ever recorded. Unfortunately, many areas were blanketed in clouds, including the world's largest metropolis, Mexico City. Remarkably, minutes before the historical event was to occur, the volatile sky cooperated. The clouds began to dissipate just before the moon began crossing the sun's path. The city prepared for darkness. Shortly after 1 p.m., 17 different people, unknown to each other, in different locations, waited with camcorders in hand. Most were astronomy or history buffs, only expecting to capture the total eclipse on videotape. To the left of the bright object, and slightly above, a star, faint at first, beginning to sparkle in the darkening afternoon sky. In his black and white viewfinder, Mr. Laborde thought he was videotaping 2 stars. Across town, Mr. Laragivel also believed he was recording bright stars. Laura Hernandez saw a glimmer of a bright object as the clouds parted. Miguel Angel Torres, in the central part of the city, pans skyward searching for the eclipsing sun and finds instead a shimmering stationary object. His camcorder reads 1:22 p.m. Padre Manuel Ferrer, a Catholic priest in the southern quadrant of the city, focuses on the luminous orb in the darkened sky. What a bright star, he thought. On the outskirts of the city, on a hill named Cerro de la Estrella, the mountain of the stars, Jorge de la Torre took this extraordinary footage of an object suspended over the bustling city. In this surreal setting, Antonio Flores taped this segment as the 5th sun proceeds through its final stages before the new sun, the 6th sun, emerges. The time is now 1:24 p.m. The sun is in full eclipse. Eduardo Mejia notices a glint in the ebony sky and zooms in to frame it. It's 1:27 p.m. after the moon has crossed the center of the sun and the hovering object still remains in place. Camped on the rooftop with friends, a TV, and their camcorder, the Aguilar family turns the event into a fiesta. Note that the camera's clock reads 1:04 p.m. in the beginning and 1:25 p.m. at the end. This indicates that the UFO, known in Mexico as an ovni, remained stationary over the world's largest city for at least 20 minutes. In the southeast zone of the city, hundreds gathered in the streets, including the Fuentes family. This footage, taken by Mr. Fuentes, an engineer, is some of the most dramatic ever taken. This is the first hyperjump ever recorded. Again, in slow motion. And once more. His camcorder reads 1:28 p.m. The object has now hovered over the city for about 23 minutes. It had been 180 years since the Anahuac Valley had been immersed in the shadow of the moon, and it would be another 270 years before a total eclipse would again blanket this valley in darkness. As the ancient Maya accurately predicted, a new age of cosmic awareness was at hand for the people of Mexico, who were now captivated by the unidentifieds in the skies over their city. Without exception, Jaime Maussan is one of Latin America's most credible and popular investigative journalists, having anchored Mexico's 60 Minutes program for years. Caught in his own curiosity, the desire to find more answers to the mysterious phenomena, Jaime organized a division of his production company as a UFO investigative unit. They began in earnest to track the numerous witnesses to the July 11th event. An executive with Televisa, Mexico's largest television network, Guillermo Araguin, was the first to step forward. He explained that his location on the roof afforded an excellent view of the dramatic incident. Optical enhancement of the object he taped depicts a metal, disc-shaped craft. It is suspended in the air, and it seems to be floating, perhaps rotating on its own axis.
13 minutos para que sea absolutamente oscuro en estos momentos.
¿Cómo se ve el sol ahorita?
Ahorita se ve apenas una pequeña corona.
Sí.
Un pequeño anillo.
Sí. ¿En cuántos minutos ya?
Members of the Breton family gathered in Puebla, an industrial center 132 kilometers southeast of Mexico City. They planned carefully for this historical moment. Sunshades were readied, telescopes calibrated, and the cloth positioned.
¿Ya salió de la nube?
Ya prácticamente está oscuro. Sí. Prácticamente ya está oscuro, nada más se ve un filito de sol. El ambiente es muy especial. La temperatura ya es muy fresca.
As this home video demonstrates, they are about to have the experience of a lifetime.
La torre ya se prendió. A ver, se nota la sombra del planeta. Estamos viendo el planeta.
The Breton family recorded the silvery object at 1:22 p.m., approximately 85 miles from the location where Mr. Araguin took his identical footage. Optical enhancement and split screen is utilized to compare the segments taken by Mr. Araguin in Mexico City and Mr. Breton in Puebla. The two spacecraft correspond in size and shape. Were there two similar objects, one over Mexico City and another over Puebla? Or was there one object with the capability of a hyperleap of 85 miles, accomplished in a split second, as demonstrated in this revealing segment taken by Mr. Fuentes?
Estrella, un planeta que se vio, pero pues de acuerdo a las pruebas que le hicieron, eso no es, o sea, no es un planeta.
Claro.
Entonces, la verdad ya no sé qué sea.
Sería difícil que fuera un globo.
David Alamilla, a young student, thought he had videotaped a bright star. While searching for the eclipse, he accidentally captured the glimmering object hovering below the vanishing sun, the billowing clouds, and the dim twinkle of a star. Alamilla's camera reads 1:29 p.m. Fallas de origen means that any flaws are in the original tape. Optical enhancement provides a closer view, allowing us to see details previously obscured. This is not a star, it is not a balloon, nor is it a recognizable aircraft. It is indeed an unidentified flying object, an ovni. In the northeast portion of this massive city, Laura Hernandez zoomed in on one object she thought was a planet. Slow motion gives us a better view, and enhancement shows a pulsating energy from the metallic craft. Ms. Hernandez was surprised to learn that she had taped a UFO.
No me imaginé.
Sí, ¿qué te estás viendo?
Miguel Angel Torres recorded this segment over the central portion of Mexico City. The enhancement shows a metallic craft emanating bursts of color, a corona effect we have not seen before. At the Televisa studios, the 6 best videos taken during the historic eclipse are put through comparative analysis. All are disc-shaped, structured, metallic objects that reflect sunlight. The masters of the stars could not have planned this better. At a time when all eyes were cast to the sky, 17 different people in different quadrants of the city videotaped an object hovering below the great eclipse of July 11, 1991. The sixth sun and the era of cosmic awareness had begun. Whether by design or accident, the UFO flap over Mexico City is, thanks to the video camcorder, the most documented mass sighting ever. The object or objects were seen and taped for a duration of 30 minutes.
Bueno, primero le subimos la bilirrubina para que después de que lo que nos platique Jaime Maussan.
With his countrymen now gripped in what Jaime called UFO or OVNI fever, he accepted an invitation to appear on the popular television program Siempre en Domingo. After presenting some of the more spectacular tapes, he made what is probably the first televised prime-time appeal to the people of Mexico, asking that they send him any video containing unidentified objects and to please double-check their footage taken during the eclipse. A telephone number flashed across the screen, and moments later the studio switchboard lit up. The eclipse footage had flamed the Mexican passion for intellectual debate. Why were the sightings so overt? The UFO had positioned itself beneath the eclipsing sun at a time when millions of people were looking up. Why? Unless it wanted to be seen. And the ultimate question? Why Mexico? Some thought it was an unknown intelligence carrying out a scientific mission similar to what our scientists were doing at that same time, measuring and monitoring. If they were seen, so what? The Air Force and no one else would challenge them. Others believed it was indeed a fulfillment of the ancient prophecy. The age of cosmic awareness was being ushered in by gods in sleek, silvery chariots, drawing attention to the sixth sun and to the return of Quetzalcoatl.
He decided to record what was following.
Realizing the need for outside help, Jaime contacted Lee and I. He explained that he had followed our investigation into the Swiss Palladian contact case and that he had presented our findings to the Mexican people in a 2-hour television special. Jaime believed this program prepared his people for the events unfolding in Mexico.
In some of the videos,
on a stormy afternoon, he presented to us the details of these historic events.
During a total solar eclipse that was going to happen on July the 11th, 1991, there was going to be the end and the beginning. There were going to be some kind of tragedies, and at the same time was going to be the beginning of a new era, that the masters were going to be dead and the new masters were going to be born. And in this prophecy they even mentioned the masters of the stars. We don't know what that means. We don't want to speculate. But we think that since it's happening at the same time, something has to do with it.
Maybe a connection. Otherwise, how long was the ship over the city?
Is it the same ship All of the videos are of the same ship?
Yes, absolutely the same ship.
Is the movement of the craft unusual?
Well,
Is
it
it
seems to be
stationary?
hovering. It's not static. It's like moving this way. This thing is just standing there.
Standing there.
Doesn't it seem interesting that it would hover during the eclipse over the world's largest city?
That's what's very interesting to me. And it's an overt
Everybody's
sighting.
looking up.
That's
Over.
why we are so interested. We know that you have been in this field for long, and probably you can have some answers, because we don't have them. We all know is that something very strange was over Mexico City during the most important total solar eclipse that we have ever registered. I remember, Mexico is a country where the solar eclipses have been very, very important through history. It's not the first time. Then something has to mean all this. The eclipses for them were spot marks in history. They changed things, or things were different after and before the eclipses.
The death of one society, the rebirth of the new.
Yeah, that's what they say. And if you look at the world right now, it seems that is happening right now. I am not sure. But since we have been discovering so much with these videos, we are really, really intrigued with this. And probably you can help us, because who has the answers?
But that's a hard one.
Well, I tell you, we're very interested in this case because, one, you have physical evidence. Number two, there seems to be maybe prophecy connected to it. Three, we're talking about the world's largest city, the world's biggest flap, the most documented flap at this time. Over 17 videos were taken during the eclipse.
To have so many videos come in of the same object over one area.
But you know, Britt's right.
Absolutely, no question about it. And in Puebla, we have 2 or 3 videos. And one of them is so clear. You can compare both Mexico and Puebla, and you can see it's absolutely the same at the same time during the same total solar eclipse. What does mean? It means two UFOs in different cities at the same time. It has to be somehow
The
a
same
message.
UFOs?
The same UFO.
Same configuration, same type.
Same time, same attitude, just hovering there. It seems like they were there to be watched or to be recorded. And it's up to us to try to understand what the message is. I don't know if it's a catastrophe or it's history of Mexico, or what it is.
Jaime, how does the people that have witnessed this to this point in time, is there panic among the people of Mexico City?
No, all the opposite. They are really excited. They are really happy with what happened, because
they're open-minded.
And it gives more value to those total solar eclipse. Remember, eclipses of that series were responsible for the beginning of the construction of Tenochtitlan, the capital city of the Aztecs. They were responsible for their emigration from their original site, and many other things. And so that's why it's not so simple, this kind of eclipse in Mexico.
So it's been prophetic in the past.
Yes. Mexico and Puebla videos, you can see the UFO or whatever it is close to the stars, but every time it's different, the position. It's closer or farther, but not the same. But yeah, again, could be a clue. It's just speculation, though.
Definitely.
But we have to look very carefully at everything here, because they are clearly trying to give a message, and we have to interpret that message.
And what is that message?
Yeah. It means, because of the prophecy, a tragedy. Is something going to happen in Mexico, or it's just because historical reasons, or it's just because it happened there at this moment of crisis in history? Everything is speculation. The only thing that is real is that a UFO was there. And the government and nobody else has been able to give a real possible explanation of that. especially into cities at the same time. That's absolutely real. Everything else is a speculation, but we have to speculate because they are trying to say something. And we have to try to understand that. The scientists in Mexico, they say they are not interested in this. They don't have an answer. They cannot explain this. But you know how scientists behave with this.
Oh, yes.
It seems that we, the people, have to really learn what is going on. Because if we let them, probably we will be dead and we will not. We will know.
We have a friend who's a propulsion engineer, Dave Froney. Would like to bring him into Mexico as soon as he has some time.
I'd like to show him this.
Have him look at that footage and see what he can come up with. His specialty is propulsion, field energy propulsion. Might be something there.
Here's July the 11th. All of them were taken shoot during the eclipse.
This is amazing. To have independent measurements is excellent, because here you do see detail. You can see the physical shape, and you also see. I think I see here a disturbance on this side of the craft, indicating that the fields generated by the craft are actually disturbing the space surrounding it. This is somewhat analogous to an aircraft. For example, as an aircraft propeller rotates, it disturbs the air around it, causing swirls that emit outward. There is a pulsation in the size and geometry of the object. And again, this is indicative of a repetitive cyclic motion that you expect with a field propulsion system. One can see that there is strong energetic activity occurring throughout this region. Or else one would just see a black object and nothing else. This is extremely interesting. This illustrates two things with respect to field propulsion. The phenomena you see here would be indicative of an effective field propulsion system. For example, this is what we call a vorticity. This is actually caused by the motion of the vehicle and its field through the atmosphere of Earth. The different colors indicate that the different intensities of the fields that surround the ship. The radiation pressure at the different regions throughout the ship. These kind of tend to be characteristics of magnetic fields. Well, one might speculate that an electromagnetic device is actually causing the pulsation formation of these fields. I think this is real. Of course, I'm one of the scientists that's trying to develop the advanced spaceships that will have these kind of capabilities, and so this is very exciting to me. I must admit that right now we do not know how to develop effective field propulsion systems, but we do believe we know enough to know what has to take place for effective field propulsion to be, and these craft and the signatures of them are exactly what we think an effective field propulsion craft would have. So these are very exciting to people like myself, because it tells us that it may indeed be possible. Someone in the cosmos around us has already met this challenge, and hopefully we on this planet can do it as well.
On September the 16th, the Mexicans celebrate their National Independence Day. The festivities include a parade of marching troops, mechanized infantry, and military flybys. Vicente Sanchez, one of Jaime's engineers, was prepared to get some good Air Force stock footage. First came the helicopters, then the fighter squadron. Vicente noticed an object beneath the formation of 24 Air Force fighters and began to track it. Optical enhancement revealed that the OVNI was back in the crowded skies over Mexico City. 5 of the Mexican Air Force fighters break formation and give chase to the unknown. But soon, it accelerates, leaving them in its wake, headed northeast towards the volcano zone. After Jaime's prime-time appeal on television, hundreds of reports begin to filter into his office at Programas, including new footage. In this segment, an unidentified object finds itself in the flight path of an airliner and must move to escape detection and a possible collision. Pachuca, a mining community north of Mexico City, had reported UFOs over their area on several occasions. The local television station filmed one of the sightings, complete with a familiar star in the background. From the heart of the volcano zone, southeast of Mexico City, new reports filtered into Jaime's company. Dispatching a camera team to stake out the area proved very beneficial. During the months of July and August, the activity was extremely heavy, especially over a small natural pyramid whose name means, in the place in the heart of the gods, Teotitla. Still photographs had been taken in the skies over nearby Popocatépetl, the mighty volcano known as the Sleeping Sentinel. The pitch of ovni fever had reached a new high, creating traffic jams as curious onlookers waited in line for a peek at the nightly flybys of strange objects that frequented the area. Those that made the pilgrimage were rarely disappointed. Optical enhancement reveals that the object, which was believed to be a single light source, may actually be a tight formation of ships. These appear to be the same type of craft that was filmed during the Independence Day parade. During September and October, there was no let-up in the state of Puebla. Super Channel 3, the largest television station in the city, was airing a roundtable discussion on the subject when telephone calls jammed the station's switchboard. Hovering over the city at that moment was a now familiar unidentified aircraft. This footage was taken by a professional camera crew from the station, as the luminous object remained in the area for almost an hour. Nearby, at Metepec, Cuauhtemoc, Programas' cameraman, filmed the ships rapidly moving through the darkened sky towards an unknown destination. Optical enhancement in slow motion provides us a better look, and without it, this could easily be passed off as the flashing lights of an airplane. The following evening, September the 20th, the ships returned, and Cuauhtemoc shot his third segment of video in a 3-day span. The pulsating object started mysteriously over the small village of Metepec. While Metepec and Atlisco were being inundated by sightings, Puebla was experiencing a return visit by a ship that had a curious interest in the transmission towers of Super Channel 3. Within the same week, the overt activity returned to Mexico City, as shown in this unique video taken by Vicente Sanchez, the engineer that had filmed the Independence Day parade months earlier. 4 days later, on November the 9th, in the area of the city known as Zona Volcanica, Angel Cruz, a student, took this video clip from his 5th-story apartment window. The ship appears to be slowly rotating in a counterclockwise motion as it disappears behind a neighboring complex. In the Zona Volcanica, Padre Ferrar, a Catholic priest who had taken eclipse footage months before, is curiously drawn to a radiance suspended beyond and above the outskirts of the city. As he zoomed into the maximum range of his camcorder, the size and brilliance of the object is intensified. Suddenly, one light transforms into two separate forms of luminescent energy. About 30 seconds later, the metamorphosis begins again. He had been recording for the better part of an hour when he noticed that a third light source was becoming visible. To the right of the two brighter objects, a vague twinkling emerges. Weary, the Padre stopped recording after 1 hour. The luminous object remained in the same location, silently hovering for 6 hours. Then, according to the priest and other witnesses, the three lights merged into one huge, brilliant object and accelerated straight up into the night sky. One week later, and 7,000 miles from the Husco volcano, a Japanese couple vacationing on Kayushka Island took this amazing video of a dish-shaped craft hovering in the skies above the erupting volcano, Mount Unsan. This clear footage was subjected to enlargement for a detailed study of the airship. Oddly enough, we discover that it is the same type of spacecraft seen and filmed over Mexico during the solar eclipse 4 months earlier. This mysterious ship remained near the smoking volcano until twilight, then moved, bathing itself in the glow of the moon. Like Padre Ferrar, the couple grew weary with the motionless craft and only videotaped at intervals before retiring for the night. The next morning, in amazement, they discovered that the object remained, gleaming brightly in the morning light. Why was it there? Coincidence? Or a planned event designed to attract the attention of those who can comprehend the Maya prediction of cosmic awareness and its correlation to Earth changes? The UFO blitz continued over Mexico. On December 14th, the family in the area of St. Geronimo took this footage and related the fantastic story of how they watched with amusement as the object aerobatically danced over the Zona Volcanica near the city of Mexico. On the 9th of January, Vicente Sanchez again took video of a unique object that flew slowly and silently over the high-rise buildings in the eastern part of the city. The aerial siege of this sprawling metropolis continued throughout the months of January and February, as did the excitement and exuberance of the people. By mid-January, Mexico City appeared to be the preferred flight path of the unknowns, as demonstrated by this video taken by Eduardo Mejia that shows a tight formation of two objects headed southwest. On January 12th, a young man captured on tape the strange, rapid movements of one of the unknowns. February, the ships returned to Metepec and at Lisco. A professional cameraman, Guillermo Wemes, from Super Channel 3, was present to record this dramatic segment. It wasn't until the object banked to the left over at Lisco that a familiar triangular form was identified. This rare comparison video, taken 2 years earlier in Belgium, shows an identical triangular-shaped craft. Utilizing optical enhancement, a star is faintly visible behind the object. When the star is used as a reference point, it becomes quite apparent that the erratic movement of the craft is that of the object and not the result of a handheld camera. Visual comparison of the two segments illustrates the similarities between these two craft and the similarities with footage taken over Tbilisi. In silence, the object moved over a housing project as a brilliant ball of light. Close examination of the enhanced video seems to show a tight formation of 7 circular objects and is considered the best footage to come out of the former Soviet Union. The first video ever taken of a UFO was filmed accidentally in the late 70s by Manuel Juarez of Channel 3 in Guatemala. While producing an automobile commercial, he noticed an object darting through the blue sky. The clip from Guatemala closely resembles this segment taken over Mexico City by Vicente Sanchez years later. New photographs from Mexico reveal a sombrero-shaped object photographed from inside a late model car. And in this photograph, taken in the state of Hidalgo, it strongly resembles a Variation 2 ship that was photographed by Edward Meyer in 1979 as it hovered over a wooded area in Switzerland. The similarities are amazing. 4 different configurations of spaceships have been seen in the skies over Mexico, and there may be more. On February 24th, the parade of UFOs continued over Puebla. The thrill of the sighting is captured by a young man's camcorder as he tells his sister to get the family.
Rápido, rápido. A la izquierda está el ovni. Pero que rapidísimo, que una lucecísima. ¡Mira, córrele! ¡Córrele! Me está moviendo poco a poco. ¡Mira el ovni! ¡Rápido, tía! ¡Allá! Ya se va. ¿Qué pasó? ¡Córrele, tía! Ahí está atrás del árbol, está atrás del árbol. Ahí, ahí. ¡Córrele! Ahí está. Atrás del árbol, estaba bien grande. No, un helicóptero. Se está moviendo ahorita rápido.
He believes he is filming an ovni, while his aunt argues that it is only a helicopter.
Ahí van. Acá. Quítate de atrás de mí, quítense. No es avión, estuvo como 5 minutos parado en el mismo lugar.
As the family debate continues, the aerial display intensifies.
Lo estoy viendo. No, eso no es un avión, tía.
Meanwhile, over Mexico City, the skies are becoming more and more crowded. A commercial airliner approaches for a landing as an unidentified object passes dangerously close. On March 4th at 11:30 p.m., the central control tower of the International Airport in the city records a flight of UFOs in the eastern quadrant. Shortly thereafter, the airport at Toluca confirmed the sightings and recorded the event on video. The electronic visual lasted for approximately 40 minutes before disappearing from the radar screens. The control tower operator allowed Jaime to examine the videotape. The excitement continues. Over at Lisco, a mysterious rendezvous is captured on video by a Super Channel 3 cameraman, Guillermo Güemes. The light on the left of the screen has approached the other bright ball of light until they appear to merge as one, as if docking. Suddenly, to the left, two more luminous objects appear. As the two on the right separate, we can now see four distinct unknowns. We invited Nippon Television to join our investigation, and the Japanese film crew arrived in Mexico at 11:30 p.m. on May the 8th. Our old friend, the host and director, Junichi Yaoi. When we told Yaoi there might be a good opportunity for Nippon Television to get their own footage, they jumped at the chance. Yaoi had spent over 20 years researching the subject matter and chasing the elusive UFOs. Yaoi had once referred to the subject matter as the most impenetrable mystery of our time. So when he arrived in Mexico, he was intrigued and still in the hunt. Exhausted, it would be 3 a.m. before we would arrive in Puebla. After 3 hours of sleep and a full schedule ahead of us, Jaime, Britt, and I led the way to Atlisco. During the last 7 months, Atlisco had been a hotbed of UFO activity, and Jaime had arranged for 3 important interviews, beginning with the most important political figure in the city, the mayor, the first government official in Mexico to publicly discuss the subject of UFOs.
Y ellos me dicen,
he's saying me that, as he told me the other time, he hasn't seen them, but many people here around claim that they have seen them, and they know they are there, and he knows there is something there because everyone's talking about it, but he doesn't know what they are or why they are here.
hacer bromas en un cerro, en una montaña, pero ya el cielo está un poco difícil. Entonces probablemente se trate de naves terrestres. Pues esto ha tenido proyección ya internacional y lo estamos ratificando ahora con la presencia de los señores.
He's saying that this is giving this place a international projection because he just last Thursday had a binational conference with the United States and legislators from there in Mexico, and he said that they knew about what was happening in Atlisco.
What is the Mexican government's attitude or opinion to the UFO?
¿Usted conoce la actitud del gobierno mexicano alrededor del fenómeno OVNI?
Pues, licenciado, ya sabe usted que ha sido lo que usted me externó y lo he certificado, autorizado al respecto.
He hasn't said anything. They are as curious as everybody else. They have a military here, and they want to see the UFOs too.
Oh, but they didn't chase the UFO.
Pero no han perseguido.
Do you think there is the connection between UFO and the Popo Mountain?
¿Piensa usted que hay alguna conexión entre el fenómeno OVNI que se está dando aquí y el volcán Popocatépetl?
Pues realmente han sido áreas determinadas y como le comentaba también se me ha dicho y algunas personas me han informado que en la región de Tlaxcala también aparece el mismo fenómeno. En Tlaxcala pues hay un área arqueológica, ¿verdad? Y aquí no sé, no sé si hay algo por ahí, pero alguna cosa atrae la atención de esos aparatos a la zona.
He doesn't know, he knows that they are attracted to the area.
The question-answer session goes on for 1 hour. Major Ordonez explains that there is not a great threat from the craft and that many of his constituents travel to outlying areas to observe the activity firsthand. Remarkably, the government's position is like that of the citizens. Although they haven't any definitive explanations to the mystery, they are curious and want to know more. Word of our presence has spread quickly. Many people crowd into the mayor's office, disrupting the interview. More people waited in the street, and we were experiencing a classic example of what Jaime called ovni fever, which by now had become an epidemic. We cross the street and enter the office of the Comandante of the Judicial Police for Puebla and the Supervisor of Police for the state, Señor Miguel Larios Cruz.
They take care of that. What are they doing?
Junichi asked the Comandante if the UFOs are dangerous. The Comandante responds that if there are beings inside these ships, they are not hostile or dangerous to us, adding that if they wanted to hurt us, they would have done so by now. Therefore, there is no need to feel threatened.
He knew that you were coming and we were asking for his interview. He asked permission to his director, and the director said, no, you just have to say what you saw. And there is no restriction for the officers in the States.
What a refreshing change. There is no cover-up, no obstruction of his testimony. At the beginning of the flap, before everyone started seeing UFOs, his office had been told that objects had been seen near the pass between the volcanoes. Thinking that this was a drug plane, a stakeout was organized. A camera would be used to record the aircraft ID numbers so arrests could be made. The stakeout was successful. But the photo was unlike anything he had ever seen.
The photograph was taken from 40 meters, and he thinks that the object had a length of 10 to 15 meters, something like a DC-3. Oh. He thought it was a DC-3. That's the most used plane for smugglers. And he thought, yeah, that plane is going to bring smuggling. And that's why he shot the picture. I see. They analyzed it through a magnifying glass, and they realized that these were portholes. Oh.
We head for the largest radio station in the area, which has become the control center for UFO reports and sightings. XHVP, Stereo Soul. The director of the station provides some shocking details.
They are in a county with 100,000 people. They consider the ratings very high, up to 90%. Most of the people here are aware of the station, and this is where they give the reports. No. Found out that 90% of the people in Atlisco have seen the UFO, and the other 10% know about the UFO.
This was amazing. 90,000 residents had seen the bright objects that rule the skies over Atlisco and Metepec. And yet, with the massive sightings and front-page news coverage, the people remained calm. There was no panic, only curiosity for the mysterious visitors. A dentist in Atlisco, Dr. Rosas, had numerous sightings. Near the Pyramid Mountain, Teotitlan, which means the Embassy of the Gods, a magical place that seemed to attract UFOs. Dr. Rosas had taken videotape of one such event.
Ahí está detenida en el cielo. En esta ocasión estamos percibiendo una luz. Ahí vemos que se regresa sobre la ciudad al norte.
Rarely does one see footage with this degree of clarity and quality. Now we understood why the people of this region were so open to discussion, for we too were overwhelmed by the scope of the events. The unknowns were overtly attempting to get attention. But why? As we searched for answers to elusive questions, the OVNI activity increased in the air corridors of the volcano zone, over the cities of Puebla, Metepec, Chapil, and Atlisco. Then, in rapid succession, the pieces to the puzzle began to fall into place, beginning with an innocent home video taken during a vacation some months earlier. Ms. Galvin did not notice the dark object hovering over the volcano. It would have remained undetected if not for an observant friend that noticed it during a screening of the tape. Recalling Jaime's request for assistance, the video was sent to Programas, where slow motion was employed to study the object. A young man named Max Hofbauer filled in additional pieces. His investigation of the phenomena centered near his home in the state of Puebla, in the zone of the volcanoes, where the objects were reported frequently, and most specifically around Mount Popocatépetl. Max reported another clue. The ovnis regularly flew between the volcanoes Popocatépetl and Ixtaxochitl, in the direction of Puebla, and over what many believe is a base, Teotitlan. Armando Nicolau is an archaeologist employed at Programas, and with friends had recently climbed the sleeping sentinel, Mount Popocatépetl. Since their last climb, they noticed that the trails had changed dramatically, and once on top of the crater, his camcorder recorded an amazing event. The normally cool water of the lagoon was hot. The mountain was beginning to vent. The long dormant volcano was coming to life. The sleeping warrior was awakening. Been smoking for about how long? No?
1 week. 1 week, then was smoking the volcano, but very strong smoke. Because later the volcano makes signals, Indian signals, making ring, and the ring went bad. Now is very, very rare the smoke.
Mount Popocatépetl is the fourth largest volcano in the world, with an elevation of 17,887 feet. It is also the most dangerous volcano, for Popo lies between Mexico City and Puebla. Should this sleeping giant blow its top, the explosion alone could trigger a megaquake that could destroy these two historic cities and affect over 30 million people, 1/3 of the population of Mexico. For months we had followed the trail that eventually led us to the foot of this active volcano. But it all began in Mexico City during the great solar eclipse of July 11, 1991.
Phase 1 of the prophecy was complete. All of Mexico was aware of the presence of what the Maya called the Lords of the Sky. Phase 2 began with the nightly sightings in the volcano zone. Indeed, the OVNI were the masters of the skies, demonstrating breathtaking aerial acrobatics that defied gravity and scientific principles. They hovered over Puebla, placing the fourth largest city in Mexico on a UFO alert. And they flew formations over Atlisco and Metepec, drawing the investigators closer and closer to the mountains, and finally to the fourth largest volcano in the world, the sleeping warrior, Popocatépetl, which dangerously looms over the people of the Anahuac Valley. Between the two massive volcanoes, the Sleeping Warrior and the Sleeping Woman, a historical location of destiny and fulfillment of past predictions. For it was here in November of 1519 that Hernán Cortés, braving icy winds and furious storms, set foot on the pass that bears his name. Beneath his camp lay the Valley of Mexico, the seat of Aztec power and the destiny of a people. Adding emphasis to the knowledge of the oracles, Popocatépetl began to vent its fury. The conqueror, writing to the King of Spain, recorded the following: "Both by day and night, a great column of smoke comes forth and rises up into the clouds, as straight as a staff, with such noise and violence that the whole mountain should fall down. With the descent of the Spaniards into the Valley of Mexico, the long prophesied day of destruction had arrived, and the forecasted 500 years of darkness and ignorance had begun. The fifth sun had culminated. Almost 500 years later, we are living, according to Maya prophecy, in the age of the sixth sun, and, as in Cortez's day, the sleeping warrior is awakening from a long hibernation. Perhaps the earth changes foretold by the ancient messengers of destiny were all-encompassing and not focused solely on the inhabitants of Mexico. The Maya envisioned changes, no matter how destructive, as a necessary progression, believing that from the ashes of catastrophe would bloom a stronger alliance that was essential to the rebirth of civilization and to the recycling of nature. The locals said that if we stayed the night, we could almost be guaranteed a sighting, so we set up a camp near the foot of Popocatépetl. As darkness descends, our camp takes on an eerie glow, and we found ourselves discussing the possible motives of the mysterious visitors. Why were they here? Were they testing our intelligence? Or playing games? Or were they just casual observers with their own scientific agenda, researching Earth anomalies such as eclipses and volcanoes? Or were they, as the Maya had prophesied, the messengers of destiny, here to alert us to the coming Earth changes predicted by the sixth sun eclipse? On a small knoll at a place called Casita Blanca, where the locals gather for UFO watch, the culmination of an exhaustive 10-month journey was about to begin. In the midst of an interview, the first ship appeared.
The Japanese camera, come here, quickly. Corra, corra.
That's it.
Está el punto.
That's it.
Sí, pero aquí no lo veo, parece ser el avión.
You think that's it?
I think so. Look how slow, look how different it is from the plane.
Uh-huh.
The Japanese camera.
Ya se desapareció.
そんなことやったら撮れないよ。
Son las nubes, ya se perdió.
No, ahí lo tengo yo. Pónmelo, hijo.
The desperate voice is that of Cuauhtemoc, the cameraman for Programas, hastily trying to film, balance the heavy camera on his shoulder, and set up the tripod in the total darkness. The camera secured to the tripod eliminated handheld movement, allowing a steady picture of the hovering craft. It vanishes for 5 seconds, then reappears before departing for good, as the locals had predicted. The experience lasted 2 minutes and 24 seconds.
Okay, so when...
Another interview is interrupted as the second UFO appears. Curry, the NTV cameraman, has difficulty locating the ship through his viewfinder. The object has disappeared behind the knoll and a mad scramble ensues, climbing through cactus, bushes, and over rocks. The NTV crew turned on their floodlights to hasten the climb, and a chorus of over 100 voices demanded the absence of light.
Take it off the light! Take it off the light, man! Turn off the light! Take it off the light! Come on, come on.
Here.
Come on.
Come on, here.
Over to you.
Come on, this way. Hey. Here. No, apaga tu luz. Turn off your light.
No, he has to see where he walks. He triples.
I know.
He needs to see the cameraman needs to see where he's walking.
This way.
The NTV crew reaches the top of the ridge, and the ship is spotted again. It is identical to this craft, filmed by Guillermo Güemes.
No, es que se va viendo hacia acá.
¡Ay, tienes acá!
Tranquilo.
Es un avión.
Bueno, déjalo.
¡Viene!
Ya. Tranquilo.
Mira tu avión.
Mira tu avión.
Ese no es un avión, señores. Un avión no da la vuelta. Un avión no da la vuelta, sí, ya lo vimos. Bueno, pues ya.
Pero mira, se está retrasando.
Ahí se va a apagar. ¡No!
¡Ay, qué maravilla!
¡Se apagó!
Lo tengo todavía. Todavía lo tengo. Ahí está.
Se está regresando.
Grábalo bien, súmete todo. Ciérrate todo a él.
Ya lo perdí.
Ahí sigue.
Ya lo perdí. Aquí no lo tengo.
Ahí sigue la lucecita. Se apagó. Ahí va.
Nothing in history is comparable to the massive sightings and remarkable videos that were taken during the Mexico flap of 1991 and 1992. Deciphering the meaning of such overt activity is centered on speculation, which was seeded by the accurate prophecies of the Maya. Perhaps, as foretold 1,200 years ago, the unidentified objects are indeed messengers of destiny.
Thank you.